Well, good morning guys, and welcome back to the channel, and welcome back to another Photo Fridays. As I think I said in my main travel vlog, I was thinking of making a photography specific vlog in this area, Scottish autumnal colours. So that's what I thought I'd do. Now I've got a couple of locations to hopefully explore today, starting off with the Birks of Alberfeldy. Very, very popular, especially during autumn. So I'm assuming, even though it's a bit of a rainy, overcast Monday morning, it's probably going to be getting reasonably busy up there, but we see what we can make from a photography perspective. The light's not great, so it really is, for me, I haven't really made an effort to photograph in woodlands in quite some time. So for me, it's all about just getting my eye back in again and seeing whether or not I can come up with something that compositionally kind of ticks my boxes. Because yeah, certainly without any light, things are going to look maybe a little bit flat, but we'll go for a wander anyway and seize what we can seize. The Alberfeldy Birks. So apologies if the mic's picking up some of that water, quite fast flowing actually. So first little scene of the day, I've already made the image. What I liked about it was it's got everything that makes this area quite famous. It's got a little nod to the water, it's got obviously the beautiful autumnal colours, various mixture of woodland, and I really like as well, even though it's quite a sort of overcasty day, those beech leaves are still being sort of backlit and almost translucent, which is quite nice. Playing about a little bit with shutter speed. Obviously a polarizer is your best friend on situations like this. A lot of damp leaves about, a lot of reflections, and that just kind of gets rid of a lot of those reflections and also kind of brings some extra saturation to those greens and to those oranges. Really quite nice. Playing about, as I say, with shutter speed. No ND filters, no need to. Shooting sort of 3 seconds, 2.5 seconds, 1 second. I think I prefer it maybe sort of 1.5 seconds, just to keep a little bit of the energy in the motion, in the water. But yeah, an okay image to get us started. What I find is, and I kind of got into this habit where I thought, you know, I should keep I do keep my camera in the bag quite often while I'm just walking about scouting. But for me as well, how I kind of get close to work that I'm quite pleased with is I kind of have to take quite a few images, quite often just with the iPhone. So this is just a little scratcher, a little thing to get us going of a rather beautiful scene. We're going to carry on climbing up and exploring more of the Birks. None too shabby. So I came across another scene. Unfortunately, I couldn't record anything while I was making the image because, as usual, health and safety gone mad. There's a leaf blower in a wood with a billion leaves. Anyway, trying not to be a grumpy old man. So unlike the first image where I was including lots of elements of what makes this place so popular, my eye was originally drawn to the very characterful tree, big sort of sweeping branches and things, and of course again that lovely backlit foliage in the background. And I think the image works best removing the river from the scene. I did try both, and I just think that having the river in maybe just adds a little bit too much busyness and a little bit of too much of a sort of colour contrast from the actual image itself, which I feel is better suited to a more soft, subdued image. Now, while I was sort of setting up the image, the sun did come out, which would have caused some issues because it was creating some sort of light and shadow on the ground. Thankfully, it kind of went away again, so we're back now to sort of a little bit more even light. I also like to do a little bit of scouting with the iPhone as well. That can come in quite handy, especially the 3x zoom on it, and even zooming in even further, just saves having to sort of get the other cameras and things out just to see whether something works. Quite often though, if my eye is drawn to something as I'm walking past, at least give it a go on the iPhone and see what it's like. I shall put this image up and we'll wander on, thankfully, out of earshot from Mr. Leaf Blower. fighting a losing battle there, mate. So another very characterful tree behind me here. Kind of trying to work on a composition, a portrait composition. And again, the challenge is trying to get as much of the character of the tree into the frame, while also not including any of that sky. Now, I was originally kind of over on the right-hand side of the tree, but actually most of its character is on the tree's left-hand side, my right, as I'm looking at it. And actually, as I brought myself round to the left, and this is why it's quite good just to, you know, don't just plunk the tripod down and take the first image that you have. And quite often, you know, just a little side note, it's quite often the case that whenever I used to run workshops, you see people come in, put the tripod at eye level, and that was it. So that's why it's quite good sometimes, even before you put the camera on the tripod, to have a bit of a wander around as well. I had a bit of a wander around, and I think a combination of both the shape of the tree, really emphasising the character of those branches on the left-hand side of the tree, and actually the reds and copper tones come through more when I'm shooting this angle as well. Again, making sure that I'm not including the sky, and I'm just including a little touch of that understory, so I'm not cutting off the bottom of the trunk as well. But I quite like this, And bonus, there was a red squirrel playing down there, but for that, you'll have to watch our travel vlog. Right, I'll put this image up, and we'll wander on. So I've been working on a scene here for quite some time, and now that we've kind of climbed up, I'm not sure how far further we go up here, but we're starting to get a view of the birch across the way. So it's adding a slightly different feel to the images. And again, sort of growing out of this sort of valley floor, some really lovely moss and lichen covered, really characterful trees again. And there's one here that's obviously completely lost all of its leaves. But it's quite difficult to set up, not least that if I really would want to include a little bit more of the center figure, the center tree. But if you're not careful, always good to do edge patrol around the sides of your frame, because we do have quite a lot of just cruff and little tiny branches and bits of ferns and bits of sort of sticking up into the frame itself, which of course, if you're not careful, you'll then see that when you get back to the digital darkroom, to back home. And then it's a bit of a pain to try to remove them. I know AI sort of remove has come on leaps and bounds, but it's actually better to do a little bit of careful sort of edge patrol around. So it has meant I've had to really punch in on the tree itself, but I really love the difference in character between the tree without the leaves and then all of that lovely birch in the background, those lovely yellows, and just a little bit of light coming into the side just to lift the whole scene. So rather nice indeed. Once again, I'll put the image up. You guessed it, we'll wander on. So it's been probably a couple of hours since I made that last image. I crossed over the river and started to head back down towards the car park. And it's a completely different feel on this side. Firstly, it's much wetter, and you have to really watch where you're going. Pretty much, you slip on your ass very quickly here. But it's a lot more chaotic and a lot less photogenic. A number of quite nice waterfalls. If waterfalls are your thing, then obviously this side would be where you would be able to capture some of those. Looking at it from the other side, this looked really photogenic, but now that I'm down in it, don't get me wrong, it's still a beautiful walk, but just from a photography perspective, the camera has well and truly stayed in the bag. So I'm not sure whether I'll be making another image or not, but say probably got another half an hour, maybe 20 minutes walk back down towards the van. So maybe there'll be one more. Who knows, Who knows? But yeah, beautiful. But yeah, waterfalls on this side. I'm just not a big waterfall. Took a couple of images of them, but I'm not really a big waterfall kind of fan in terms of photographs. But if that's your bag, come here. Wandering on. Well guys, no more images to be had. At least not walking down that other side of the river. Nice enough walk and everything, but there just wasn't anything that was really grabbing me. So if you do happen to come here, then unless you're really into waterfalls, as you're walking uphill, stay on the right hand side of the river, because I think that's where probably you're going to get most opportunities from a autumn photography perspective. But of course, by the time this comes out, autumn will be well and truly gone. Well, I'm going to wander back to the van. I'm also pretty hungry. It's coming up in sort of 1:30 or so. Not sure whether I'm going to record another photography related vlog from this area. I'm obviously going to be exploring more in the van, but I might just do the one photography vlog from this area. But Scotland this year seems to have had an absolute riot, an explosion of autumnal colour. I'm assuming quite to do with the very wet conditions that it had. But yeah, it's been absolutely stunning, and everyone I've kind of spoken to who's even local from the area has also said, yep, on point. So glad I made the effort to come across east and actually spend a couple of days here. Well, hopefully you find that useful and following along these little photo Fridays. As I said, not sure whether there'll be another one from this area or whether by the time I stick out another photo Fridays we'll be back in Ireland, but who knows. Anyway guys, once again, thanks a lot for following along, and until next photo Fridays, take care, bye bye.